Welcome to the Pursuit of Glory. This is a real-life, real-time documentary about a 15-year-old Korean-Australian boy with the dream to become a world boxing champion. Let us see if he can make it to the championship of the world. The countdown is on. Only a couple more weeks and the boy will step into the square ring with a real opponent that is going to punch back. He will no longer be boxing with a shadow, as a shadow is going to become a real opponent that has a job to punch his target areas. Things have gotten a bit more serious now. No more shadows, but a real opponent is going to stand across from him and test his skills. In the ring, as the great Joe Frazier said, if you didn't train properly, it's gonna all show under the bright lights where everyone can see. The opponent will not only punch back, but he will test the boy's guard, test his skills and his will. However, before we can start doing anything in boxing, the boxer must always warm up their bodies, that is their muscles, joints, ligaments, tendons, and effectively every single part of their body, as the body is the fighting machine. In saying all this, I've instructed the boy not to feel any pressure at all. I informed him it is okay if he doesn't even hit the sparring partner. That is not the objective. I informed him that the only thing I want him to get out of this spar is to be able to feel relaxed and comfortable in the ring with an opponent and not get hit. I want the boy to gain confidence in his defense, as if one has confidence in their defense, then there is nothing to fear. Moreover, if he can pull off one or two offensive and defensive moves with practice in real life or a real spar, that will be great progress. That will be more than what we could wish for. Most boxers need to have about 10 odd fights before they can really start to feel relaxed in the square ring. As if a boxer cannot fight in a relaxed state like a marathon runner, then they will never make it to the end of the 12th round. Doesn't matter how fit they are. That is why when you see great athletes such as footballers and rugby league players come to boxing with their anaerobic fitness, you think they'd go well, but when they spar in the square ring and box for 3 minutes, they quickly run out of breath and, as they famously say, gas out. This is not because they are not fit athletes, as they are muscle bound and look like athletes, but even the fittest athletes will gas out in the square ring if they are not relaxed and tensed up due to nerves. So I've informed the boy, when you train, whatever you do, you must always maintain that state. Try and fight, move, breathe, punch, defend, all in that relaxed state. The rabbit hole goes deep, and the riddle can only be solved by the one who travels the path. In boxing, as in life, the basics are everything. They are the foundation, the roots that hold the tree steady when the storm comes. Yet sometimes, even though we know, we may be tempted to skip ahead, try and expedite the process. But this will always come back and bite you in the bum down the track. Unintentionally, I tried to teach my son advanced footwork before he had truly mastered the fundamentals. And surely enough, the mistakes showed themselves. The most fundamental error that everyone teaches: not to cross your legs so that they are in an off-balance position. And lo and behold, when he moved around the ring, one step at a time, he poetically crossed his legs and, when stepping and circling, ultimately put himself in and his balance in a vulnerable position. During these times, a knockdown would have been scored against him. And boxing is a game of balance, and if you lose your balance and either glove touches the floor, then that is scored as a knockdown, the highest point scoring that you can get under the ultimate score, which is a KO or a TKO. That's the lesson. You cannot rush the fundamentals. Basics are not boring. They are the bedrock. Every slip, every step, every pivot, every fundamental method of footwork, balance, is all for a reason and must all be learned first before we move on to the advanced. One must ponder on this deeply. Moreover, one must practice this diligently. Ignore them and they will come back and bite you in the bum. Guaranteed. Sparring is just around the corner. In a few weeks, the boy will step into the ring and face a live opponent for the first time. That's a big moment. The nerves, the excitement, the unknown. But before we cross that threshold, we must pause to check the foundations. Because in boxing, your weapons are not the fancy tricks or flashy moves. Your weapons are the punches, the jab, the cross, the hook, the uppercut. These are the tools that carry you through battle. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of sparring, to imagine the exchanges, the counters, the footwork. But none of that matters if the punches aren't sharp, if the mechanics aren't clean. A sloppy jab leaves you open. A lazy cross robs you of power. A hook without balance spins you off center. These mistakes don't just cost points, they cost confidence. And confidence is everything when you are standing across the ring from someone who wants to test you. So, before we enter the square ring, before the pressure, we must check all the basics. We sharpen the jab until it's like a retractable spear. We drive the cross until it's like a hammer that snipes. We shape the hook until it becomes like a catapult. We lift the uppercut until it's a rising volcano blast. These are the fundamental weapons, and they must be forged so they can be trusted. As when the bell rings, you don't rise to the level of your dreams, but you fall to the level of your training. And training begins and ends with the basics. Basics are the alpha and the omega of boxing. 1 must ponder on this deeply. Right now, the mission is simple. Check the jab. Not just any jab, a sharp, snapping jab. 1 round of straight single jabs is not about endurance, it's about precision. Each punch must fire like a sniper, fast and clean, snapping back to guard with no wasted motion. The jab is the measuring stick of a boxer. If it is sharp, everything else can flow. If it is dull, then the whole arsenal suffers. That's why we pause here before sparring, to confirm the weapon is ready. The jab must sting. It must command respect. It must remind the opponent that distance and rhythm belong to us. So this round is a test that the jab is snapping. It's sharp. Because when the bell rings, the jab is the first word spoken in the language of boxing, and it must be spoken with authority. Now it's time to check the straight right cross, the power punch, the backbone of offense. We must make sure the mechanics are sharp, that the rear foot drives, the hips turn, the shoulder fires, and the hand snaps straight down the line. No looping, no wasted motions, just clean, direct, accurate power. The right cross is a weapon that can end the fight. So this segment is a test. Does the right cross land straight? Does he return to guard? And does it carry balance behind it? Because when sparring begins, the right cross will be the difference between landing with authority or leaving yourself exposed. Today, we must confirm the weapon is sharp, so tomorrow it can be trusted. Now we turn to the left hook, one of boxing's most dangerous weapons, but only if the technique is right. A sloppy hook leaves you off balance, wide open and vulnerable. A sharp hook, on the other hand, can change the course of a fight in an instant. That's why we pause here to check the fundamentals. The elbow stays level, the hand travels tight, the hip and shoulder rotate together, and the guard returns immediately. No swinging, no reaching, just clean mechanics. The left hook is a test of discipline. If the technique is solid now, it will deliver power and precision under pressure later. This check ensures the weapon is sharp, so when sparring begins, the hook can be trusted. Now we check the uppercut, the rising punch, the hidden weapon. It looks simple, but the technique must be exact. The knees dip slightly, the hips drive upward, and the fist travels fast, tight through the center line. No swinging wide, no wasted motion, just a clean vertical snap. The uppercut is designed to break through defenses, to lift the chin, to punish an opponent who leans forward, but it only works if the mechanics are sharp. Each repetition here is a test. Does the punch rise up straight? Does the body stay balanced? Does the glove return to guard? A round of uppercuts to check its precision, because when sparring begins, a sharp uppercut can change the rhythm of a fight in an instant. So today, we must continue to forge a strong uppercut. Boxing is a game of moves. Every step, every slip, every punch is a move in a larger dance. And like any great game, it's not won by chance, it's won by preparation, by building the right arsenal. We've attended to the individual skills, the footwork that keeps us balanced, the head movement that keeps him elusive, the punches that carries his power. Each of these is a piece of the puzzle, but now comes the next stage of combining them steadily and deliberately into sequences that defy a fighter. A hook alone is a tool. A roll under alone is a skill. But a hook followed by a roll under, that's a basic move. That's the beginning of a fighter's language. Boxing is not just about throwing punches. It's about creating patterns, breaking rhythms, forcing reactions, and then capitalizing on them. So, as we move forward, we start to build our arsenal of moves. Not rushed, not forced, but crafted with patience. Each move layered on top of the basics. Each combination of moves tested and sharpened continually until the boy is not just practicing skills, but is molding into a fist fighter. Because in the ring, it's not the one who knows the most tricks who wins. It's the one who has built moves on solid fundamentals, who can trust in their arsenal under the pressure. And that's the journey we're on. From skills to moves, from practice to fighter, from boy to man. The core is more than just muscle. It is the shield that protects the vital organs and the bridge that connects the lower half of the body to the upper half. In boxing and combat sports, that connection is everything. Power doesn't begin in the fist. It begins from Mother Earth and travels through the legs, gains power at the core to transfer all that energy out of the knuckles of the fist in the line of the blades of Wolverine. One must ponder on this deeply. That's why sit-ups matter. They are not vanity, they are necessity. Every repetition strengthens the chain, ensuring that the energy generated from the legs does not dissipate, but flows upward with precision and force. A weak core breaks the link between the top and bottom, and the more power leaks away, the punches lose their sting, and the fighter loses his confidence. Aristotle spoke of the center as the source of balance, the unmoved mover that holds everything together. In the same way, the boxer's core is the center of his strength. Without it, the body cannot carry the fight. With it, every punch, every slip, every move becomes sharper, stronger, and seems like superhuman strength to the one who has a weak core. One must experience this to understand this. So when we grind through sit-ups, we are not just training muscles, we are forging the center that makes a fighter whole, protects the organs, connects the power, build the engine, because the fight is won not at the edges, but at the core. One must ponder on this deeply.